In the Indian context, the influencer marketing itself would account for 3,000 crore worth of allocation from the Indian corporates and the banks.
It's essentially how PR works, right?
70 to 80% of today's coaches are either average or mediocre.
So influencers are basically PR people who've taken their PR in their own hands.
The marketing part of the coaching business, that the coach also wants to say, I was a nobody like you. Today, see who am I. I find that very amusing. I find that very amusing. बहुत पुरानी घिसी पीटी टिप नजर आती है.
I am the founder of Voices, the brand which Algogen Marketing is about to take it big within the influencer development space. अब influencer क्या होता है ये तो हम जानते हैं, लेकिन इन्फ्लुएंसर डेवलपमेंट क्या होता है, राइट? कोई किसी को इन्फ्लुएंसर बना भी सकता है, कोई एक्चुअली किसी को ये बता भी सकता है कि आप एक इन्फ्लुएंसर बन सकते हो. उसलिए मैं वापस थोड़ा सा इन्फ्लुएंसर की डेफिनेशन पे वापस आऊंगी टू से आप इन्फ्लुएंसर. आई एम एक्चुअली क्वाइट थैंकफुल टू यू, एक्चुअली जस्ट चिल्ड मी डाउन with my question on ये आपने जो ड्रेस पहना है whatever. So I have to give you that compliment.
Flashback.
Where did I buy this dress from? It's not a dress. This is a shirt. It's
check.
It's a.
So shirt is not a dress. You don't consider shirt as a dress.
No, shirts are not dresses. So, I mean,
then
it's
shirts are
unfortunate
what?
that it's
Shirts
still
are
the case with men, that they don't understand the difference in women's couture. Shirt is not a dress. I have Sumanth Kumar here, and if he can put me at ease, I'm sure that that's something that he can do with you as well. Tell me, what do you intend to do with this? ये idea आया कहाँ से और क्यों करना है इसको?
Okay, there is a long answer to it and there's a short answer to it. So I'll touch upon both the parameters here.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I will like you to take a bit back in time. Historically, what we were basically seeing is that the influencers were always in existence. The only difference was that this space was taken up by primarily the celebs. So when you talk about celeb endorsements and celebs monetizing their brand value, they were in any case doing this, and they were major influencers. I'm talking about the commercial influencers. I'll come to the non-commercial side also to it. Sure. So right now, let me just stick to the commercial fun of it, or it's also about from a various different agendas also.
Okay.
I'll come to that. But the advent of social media added a huge platform, even for the celebs themselves, if you have noticed today. In terms of the spike in their revenues, and the whole methodology has gone to another level altogether. And hereby came in the non-celeb segment, which realized that now there is scope for them, in terms of, and I think one of the major contributing factors is the technology aspect here. Prime reason is the technology factor.
Technology or free data?
I would say technology. When I talk about tech, data is okay. Data research was always there.
नहीं, data मतलब वो free वाला. आपको जब इतने GB free मिल जाता है.
The technology as a whole. Let's look at it as an umbrella service. Okay. And I'm talking about digital revolution, and then came in the social media platforms as such. So the social media platforms then enabled the non-celeb segment also to aspire to get into that space, which was otherwise out of the reach for them. It was above their pay grade in any case, because then this was
above their pay grade. It was not out of the reach, above their pay grade. Maybe.
It was left purely for the celeb segments, sports people from the world of modeling, music.
Tell me about the non-celeb segment that you're talking about over here.
So anybody whom you see has not coming from that background, as an actor, as a model,
as a sports person, or any of
sports
basically
personality
sports or entertainment
who have earned these stripes in some other form of art. And what we now see is the people who have come in who have not achieved or had any major milestones in their other part of any other careers. You will have a bit of overlapping here, no doubt about it. But primarily, I'm saying that's what we are seeing right now, the trend. So the long answer to this, who constitutes to be an influencer, I would look at it. Now, there are ways you can look at it from various perspectives. End of the day, you end up reaching making the same point. But let me also give you a perspective here that the platforms did exist in the past also, but the platform just got expanded with the advent of social media. That's what has happened basically. And that's where you start hearing the term influencer. Okay. And because it's now within their reach, they can get onto the platform. And the whole methodology, if you look at the journey factor, I would say you have the platform now, then you need to look at the connect factor, connect and capture factor. Let's call it the connect and the capture factor. And the connect and the capture factor is ensuring that now what is the connect and the capture factor? It basically, you need to look at the elements of content, technology, delivery, characterization.
Content, technology, delivery, and characterization.
Yeah, you don't
Give
need
me an example of something like this in a created piece.
So when you talk about content, the data kicks in, research kicks in, your delivery mechanism kicks in. When you talk about the character, authenticity factor kicks in. When you talk about the technology factor, the delivery mechanism kicks in, the technical delivery mechanism. Okay, there is a delivery mechanism now. If you can compare it to the logistics business. So there was a warehouse, there was enough inventory which could not be moved from point A to B.
Correct.
So what I'm trying to say is the inventory was always in existence. It has just been brought out.
We were always
If you look at delivery
we
mechanism,
were always creators. We all had something to say.
difference. Warehouses always existed, which is primarily human beings with certain thought process, with certain charm value, with certain ideation, with certain knowledge. They were there. Only the select ones were visible because the others didn't knew how to enable that journey. And now with the logistics kicking in, which is via the technology part of it, I think they are traversing that road. That's how I look at it. And if you look at the impact quotient, the fourth point when I said is the impact quotient, because impact is very important. Impact is very important because despite all other elements coming together, if the impact quotient is missing, then the journey is somewhere coming to a halt. Okay. Now, the way I see it, you have touched upon the impact factor, but what can be the impact? Impact can be just one of impact. That's not, again, not going to help the influencer. Then comes the final element, which is called consistency. Impacting again and again and again. To an extent whereby his content or the specific individual becomes a habit for a community and psychologically gets embedded in the mindset of that particular person. And that person, what you today call it, is a follower, a subscriber, a believer in the mindset being shared by that particular influencer. So where is this journey going right now? That finally he has got psychologically embedded with the follower. Is he still going to be making money? Let's say influencer. This is one part of one leg of the journey. The phase 2 of the journey is what I call is the monetization process. He has yet to make a sale. A sale, that's where the money is going to kick in, So the automation process, what we are seeing under technology, has enabled that process of sale also, which would means that he is managed to sell himself.
Provided he reaches a certain reach.
To the customers directly and also via various other funnels. And today, if you look at the scenario, just to give you a kind of a ballpoint figure, in the Indian context, the influencer marketing itself would account for 3,000 crore worth of allocation from the Indian corporates and the brands. That's a ballpoint figure. And the data what is saying is, data is saying that year on year, we are going to be seeing a 30% plus surge. And the data, what it is reflecting, the analytics part of it, is common across the globe.
Yeah.
Common across the globe. So while the technology is coming in from,
and India is definitely playing a very large role
Absolutely,
in that because we are a tech friendly, tech forward country.
So
today.
I've been in talks with a lot of stakeholders within this particular space. Let's call it the influencer eco space. There are a lot of stakeholders here, and the reason I am in touch with these stakeholders currently is because very shortly I'll be launching my own influencer development program under my brand name called Voices. So this is a startup which I'm set to launch maybe as early as end of March. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm working more focusing more on the backward integration. Okay, because we are going to be seeing a new generation and a new wave of influencers coming in. Okay, now these influencers necessarily need not be the social media influencers. So let me just clarify that particular point. You know, what we talk about in today's context is purely about the influencers who have monetized their journey, number one. Secondly, we are talking about influencers who are emerging out of the social media platforms and the technology is enabling them. But there's a parallel set of influencers who are non-commercial in nature. And these are the influencers who perhaps are not looking at monetizing their journey, but they are deriving certain benefits from other aspects.
These types of influencers are very different. They may not necessarily be a mohalle ki sweetie selling nail polish, right? Or this could be perhaps a CMO or a CHRO who knows that a single conversation has that much impact. They're also influencers in their right.
So when I say the non-commercial influencers, basically, primarily, you are seeing them in various different corridors of life. The ones, let's look at if we have to set a kind of a parameter for conversation, I would say that they are the ones who are probably not holding too much of weightage in the social media platform. They may be there, but they are not holding much, or they are not interested in driving that particular funnel. You know, because their agenda is something else. I mean, today you tell me something that even if I look at a mega influencer today, that influencer's influence has a jurisdiction. What I mean to say is that you pick up an influencer today, let's assume somebody from the fashion segment. So he has, let's assume, 1 million followers and he's known to certain brands. But can he book you a bed in an emergency in a leading hospital? No. So who can get the bed in the leading hospital? It's one of the doctors who has who's very well networked. So he manages to influence that particular hospital into giving him a bed.
Well worded.
Does he have 1 million followers? Answer is no.
Does he have 1 million followers on his Instagram? The answer is no.
No.
But maybe does he have 1 million people, or if not 1 million people,
not
at least 1,000 people who've ever met him at conferences, in his clout, in his society, and believe कि हाँ अगर Dr. Kumar ने phone किया है तो
so he's exercising his influence. He's exercising his influence because let's say कि now the issue arises कि what is his jurisdiction of influence? His influence jurisdiction is primarily within his network, which is basically from the medical fraternity.
Sure.
Okay. Now, he may probably be a part of some major medical association, doctors association, part of hospital networks, part of that commune. So the communities are multilinear and multifold and scattered all across. So the person who is making a major moolah out of the social media as an influencer based on the analytics and the brand supporting him cannot book a bed in the hospital. Though he's supposed to be a bigger influencer than the doctor which I mentioned. So the point here I'm trying to make is that as we go forward, we are going to be seeing is that the infusion of influencers, also the ones who are non-commercial, who are under the radar, would definitely enable or trigger off their social media aspect also. And that's a very interesting fact. And these are the ones, along with the aspiring set of influencers, are the one who are looking towards somebody to handhold them and guide them.
This is not their core job, right? Like, for example, let's continue with the example of the doctor that you mentioned. Most doctors are camera shy to even have a photograph clicked if they've come out of a successful operation or surgery or whatever it is, right? And I've seen that because a lot of them, their hospitals sometimes push them, okay, you've conducted such a brilliant surgery, let's click a picture together. They don't want to do that either. So these guys are people who are not just impacting lives by means of, showcasing their work, but because of what they do and who they are, they're actually impacting a lot of lives. But they're not social media savvy.
Yeah, you're right about that. But okay, let's look at it this way, that there are certain professions which have got restrictions in terms of advertising themselves and in terms of marketing themselves, number one. So the social media platforms does give them a brilliant opening and a window. That's one factor. The second factor is the ones who don't want to face the camera for whatever reasons are never going to face. But the ones who are set and wanting and have the appetite to come into the mainframe, the volume is humongous. Volume is humongous. I mean, for example, the way I'm looking at is my brand Voices over the next 3-year threshold should be able to coach at least 1 lakh aspiring influencers in India. I'm not even looking at the international segment. I'm primarily looking at across pan-India, tier 1, tier 2, and partially tier 3.
And who is your target audience here? Are you looking at people who are from the beauty, entertainment, sports segments? Because these are the natural influencers.
All walks of life, all working professionals, especially the ones who are in the leadership position and the mid segment. You have entrepreneurs, you have people seeking social identity. For that matter, even unemployed people who now are discovering a new vertical. There's a new bucket which has emerged in terms of making it a career. Nobody would have thought about it pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And but today I'm sure that a lot of youngsters are looking forward, and I strongly feel, interestingly, the youngsters are much better placed than the adults, except for the depth quotient.
I think there's a different kind of energy that they bring, but at the same time, there is also a sense of how do you say, amateur a sense to themselves, which can sometimes...
You're talking about the depth factor, you're talking about the profoundness, you're talking about the content factor, but
the
that's
authenticity or the majority of the content.
Yes, definitely. The old word wisdom definitely still has a premium. I would agree to that. But let's look at this way. If you visit any college campus, any school campus, the corridors of them, they are the ones who have students amongst the dramatic society. And if you go to the intercollegiate or inter-school festivals, you will see the intensity and the passion of debating it out far outweighs the influencers whom you see in the social media. The only thing is they don't have that platform right now. And they are the ones who definitely hold very high potential to come and become influencers. I've seen 12 to 13-year-old youngsters, now debating it out as part of the curriculum in the schools.
Yeah.
Of course, we also did that, but we didn't do it at the age of 12 and 13. Maybe we started at 15 and moving on.
Yeah.
And interesting.
I think opinions have also become stronger. They've gotten more access to tech and things like that.
It's about multiple factors kicks in. Articulation, communication factor, the stage fear factor, what we are talking about. Of course, the data and the research now with the advent of AI, that journey is being cut short. What you just mentioned to me is, while a mature person may have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge, but you see what has happened is, let's look at the phenomena. What would have taken a decade for somebody to reach a certain point in terms of a knowledge base?
AI has crunched that learning curve
today. It's gone down insanely.
So I want to ask you this question, Sumanth. Tell me, why have a program or an academy for something which ideally is so wild that no one really knows what your audience is looking for, and it's changing by the day? Even a content platform like ours wakes up every morning saying, "Aaj kya karenge?" Kyunki zaruri nahi ki kal ki strategy aaj chale. How are you looking at this being so tectonically different?
See, okay, now you're asking me something which is post Voices phase.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just first provide you with more details as far as the Voices brand is concerned. It is going to be dabbling in online digital, so-called digital coaching. Okay, and we are looking at enabling or empowering those communities who are definitely looking forward to it, whether they want to figure it out, whether they are cut out for it, or they really want to seriously embark on the journey. The Voices brand is going to help them out in that journey. Okay. Now coming to your point is about like climatic conditions, the algorithms, scenario, shifting in
audience interest.
in this space.
There's a lot of...
But that's part and parcel of the business. That's part and parcel of the business. Part and parcel of the business. I mean, that happens with in the world of performing arts also. I mean, what was had caught on at once upon a time. Maybe the new trends have come into the scene. But yes, certain of the core foundation should be strong of an influencer, which is obviously the impact quotient and the authenticity factor.
So you're likening the fact of an influencer to what used to be an actor's training at one point of time, technically speaking, where maybe if you're enrolling yourself in an acting course or a skill development course on the acting side, they'll teach you the fundamentals of it. But over a period of time, you have to sort of keep on adapting to the changes of your audiences or the genre in which you're playing.
I think going to an acting school, obviously, as a comparison, I see it as a different ballgame altogether. And I would say the influencer journey is much more interesting than an actor's journey. The reason for that is an influencer need to delve into too many compartments. As I said, technology understanding, the marketing part of it, and the content part of it. While an actor could have gone to an actor's academy or an actor's school and just learn the body language and come out of that, you know, and then somebody would have given him a break. But unlike that, the influencer journey is, I would say, definitely a tall order, but it can be done. What I and my team are looking at is in this online digital coaching space is to see, what we looked at is there's an overloading of information in today's world. Okay. People are now overloaded with information, and the overloading always results in a tremendous amount of confusion and hesitation. So typically you see, I am seeing a lot of people trying to get onto some platforms or trying to get into some trade, trying to get onto some career path. They're unable to decide because they have been overloaded with opinion and knowledge factor. So we are looking at maybe taking the integrated structure route here, you know. So whatever the elements are needed in the influencer journey, because I come from basically a brand architecture background. Yeah. You know,
that was going to be my next question to ask you. What's your background?
So I come strongly from a brand architecture background. You know, basically saddling skill sets across public relations, image management, reputation management, marketing, also CSR. And you know, in short, you know, basically nurturing brands as such. And if you look at the fact that the influencer is nothing but an off-spin from a brand and a marketing, or you can call it you can put it in the neighborhood of marketing and brand. Yeah. So the brands and the marketing functions had always looked at influencer also as a marketing tool. Yeah. Only thing is that, as I said, that the commercial aspect to it has taken on a new avatar right now with the advent of the social media. Okay, it's not like that somebody like a Cristiano Ronaldo who is on the top of the heap in terms of you know, his followers in the influencer ecosystem was not endorsing brands. He was always an influencer in a way. It's just that the social media got added to his kitty. That's it. And that's what has happened to most of the celebrities.
To your mind, is this a parallel vocation? Or is this something that one could do mainstream, not just as a social media influencer, but generally as an influencer in life?
So parallel for quite a lot of people, definitely a lot of other professionals, people for whom this may not be their
an architect,
primary,
a lawyer,
it's not the primary
coach, anybody.
So there is a segment for whom this is basically a supporting mechanism. It works as a branding and a marketing tool for them, a personal branding tool for them, which also results in supporting their business development. Okay, they are not interested in making money from here because they're making the money from their primary profession. Yeah. Now, the other faction which has emerged, and a lot is going to emerge in the coming days or the near future, are the ones also looking at, are they treating it as or aspiring to be making this as an independent vocation for them? Very clearly. Because they are not focusing on any other area. And also there is a third bucket, a switchover bucket. So where you will see is that people jumping onto, you know, this ship.
Full-time influencing.
Yes, full-time influencers, provided they taste blood, they taste success. The moment things start clicking for them from a
Which
commercial
we've
perspective.
seen a lot of chefs do, which we've seen a lot of, I think there are a lot of real estate
Any
people
field.
who started, any field, in fact,
Any
you're
field.
right, I've seen a
Whether
lot
you
of people
pick up
started
real
switching.
estate or whether you pick
Yeah.
up any other field, what you're seeing is, I know a lot of influencers within my network. Let's say real estate. I know this couple of the so-called channel partners or brokers. The call to action, so-called call to action via mobile was a very frustrating experience for them, And the moment they started uploading the video,
Yeah.
they felt the difference instantly that now more number of clients are willing to pick up their phones.
Yeah.
More number of clients are willing to call them back.
Yeah.
More number of clients are willing to work with them.
There's a pull factor
And that
added
was,
to them
that
rather
was the
than
magic of the
push.
social media.
Hmm.
And it was the same person. He's not reborn or rebooted his knowledge base or rebooted his character here. Same person.
It's essentially how PR works, right? अगर आपको मैं बोलती हूँ कोई चीज कि listen, I am good, I can tell you this is the best house for you, you won't listen to me. But if you stumble upon my channel and then, or maybe stumble upon some article written on me and says कि she is good, she knows what her clients are looking for so far as their houses are concerned, then you will, हाँ यार उन्होंने भी quote किया था.
So अभी difference क्या हो गया कि पहले Sonam had to be dependent upon PR, so-called, let's say PR.
True.
A third, which is also / third party endorsement, that somebody would have said, Sonam is a great person, why don't you catch up with him? And that's how, access was created for Sonam.
Sure.
But today, Sonam does not need PR or those contexts because she herself can get onto the social media.
So influencers are basically PR people who've taken their PR in their own hands.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, today, if you look at, what they're doing is not PR, that's a marketing aspect. The PR aspect is already kicked in very strongly, I would say, by them being in the social media themselves. In fact, people are approaching them for their PR and marketing.
Sure.
Okay. And obviously, I mean, if you're looking at PR as a definition of propping them up and giving a side of the version what cannot be brought out or expressed in their content format, yes, I mean, they would be definitely doing PR also. But PR has got a very wide connotations, The PR can be done in different manners. I mean, just by running an interview doesn't mean PR.
Yeah.
Because PR also means, elevating your brand from various other activities. Putting in the appearance at the right places, speaking in the right forums.
Sure.
And kind of projecting a certain imagery. So that's all PR business,
So I'm going to ask you some quick questions now, and I'm really intrigued about what Voices is about to do, but I want to hear from you. What is the approach of Voices? Why are you different?
At a certain level, there's nothing new about this, what I'm stepping into. It's just that the stage has changed. Because with the digital revolution, it's all about online enabling, in terms of the education business, mentoring business, then the coaching business. That's it. And it definitely holds a lot of scope. Now, instead of doing it offline, we're going to be doing it online. Otherwise, in the various corridors, education, digital coach, the coaching aspect was always omnipresent. But with the influencer economy and the influencer ecosystem emerging as a sunshine segment, there are a lot of aspirants here. And there's a massive appetite amongst various categories of individuals, right? Whether you cut into corporate segment or the non-corporate segment, and people who also don't have a specific profession in mind. And but they also would like to step into this space, surprisingly. And they are the ones who definitely are looking forward to somebody, guiding them. So it is going to be an integrated coaching mechanism whereby we've kind of broken it down at the various levels. I would say the ones who are nursing that ambition of getting into this space and the ones who feel it's mandatory for them to, pick up certain finer points in this space, including people in the corporate at the leadership level and the mid-level, for them, they need to experiment with this, explore this particular area, maybe a course like this, and then figure out whether they are cut out for it or not cut out for it, or whether this is what they had sought, and then maybe continue with the journey with us.
I'm going to be coming to even more specific, because I know that there are times when we're addressing certain issues for our audiences. And let me pick up a sample of a 21-year-old who is just coming out fresh out of a college, right? And now they're exploring, should they actually pursue another vocation and then take this up as a parallel, or can they actually dive headfirst into this and say, isko hi main apna profession banane wala hu? And would voicers then be able to assist them to actually make it a full-fledged vocation for themselves?
See, when we look at our role, we are enablers. And then there are certain experts in this segment. You see, for example, if somebody comes to me today, well, I'm going to set the whole roadmap for that particular individual, but then also put him across to, let's say, influencer marketing agency, provide him with talent management. Because today, what I'm seeing is a dozen odd influencer marketing agencies have sprouted up, and we are going to see such more number of agencies coming up shortly as the budget allocations increase, number one. Number two is, if you're looking at somebody, who's absolutely raw, has just finished off some course and stepping into this area. So that's a very open-ended question, because the reason is, if the particular person is already gained a certain expertise or invested too much into any form of education and does not and comes from a very average background, so it would make more sense for that particular person to stay on course with that line of education. And but at the same time, the person that wants to take it up as a passion or a hobby and is very curious about it, then the particular person is welcome. But I would not advise that particular 21-year-old youngster to completely switch roles here. At the same time, if somebody, for example, is not developed or undergone any in-depth skill set program in terms of the basic level of education, and is still exploring, still trying to figure out where he wants to go, and he has multiple options, the influencer ecosystem is one of the definitely a bright options.
You have given a very prudent answer to typically what I'm used to experiencing within the digital coaching space, or even the generic coaching space now. And I'm not just talking about skill development coaches or certain training coaches. I'm also talking about the life coaches, so to speak, or the practitioners of all of these various newer streams that have come in. What is your take on this? Because the immediate growth that we've seen in the last 2-3 years, especially after COVID, because everybody thought, let's go online and become a coach, right? I know my stuff, so I'm going to just teach the world and make money out of it. What is your take on it?
I think it's the economy. It's a demand and supply game, end of the day. So till such time we see the coaching business sharpening its performance, certain degree of mediocrity is going to work and fetch them the results, number one. Number two, you have to also see is the volume of coaches currently in the scenario, and the volume of enrollments. So the volume of enrollments far outweigh the volume of coaches, So it's a simple arithmetic here at play. As far as my personal take is concerned, my experience till now, after engaging with a lot of them, attending hundreds and hundreds of their webinars and courses in order to do my R&D, I would probably say that close to 70 to 80% of today's coaches are either average or mediocre, But the funniest part is, or the strange part here is,
I pity you for attending those 100 webinars.
Even the ones, they are definitely doing extremely well. And the reason for that is that the TG is so wide scattered, If, let's say we talk from an Indian context, that they managed to get them, For, let's assume that for a gentry which is
space बहुत बड़ा है और सबके खेलने के लिए there's a
absolutely
it can absorb everyone.
So in some manner or the other, I think there is a takeaway for various target groups here. And need not necessarily come from the TG, need not necessarily be from tier 1. There could be a tier 3 TG also, which is for them even mediocre is premium. So that's where it is. But the other part of it is that the coaching mechanism today, if it's trying to cajole too much in order to gain enrollments, I wouldn't be in favor of that, very frankly, And sometimes I find it so amusing that every second coach today has like a script, try to follow a certain format of coaching, or rather the marketing part of the coaching business, whereby that particular person is somehow trying to bring a relatability to his audience. So that they can enroll into his course by basically trying to thrust the belief in them that he also hails from their background. So hereby, what the scenario is, that the coach also wants to say, I was a nobody like you once upon a time. Today, see who am I. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Brings the relatability
I find that
factor.
very amusing. I find that very amusing. वो बहुत पुरानी घिसी पीटी एक हिंदी फिल्म की स्क्रिप्ट नजर आती है मेरे को, कि कैसे आदमी किसी गांव से निकला और बॉम्बे शहर में आया.
सुमन जी, देखिए बात ऐसी है, जिसकी चल गई सो चल गई, राइट? आई मीन, इफ दैट ट्रिक स्टिल वर्क्स, इट वर्क्स. आई नो रैग्स टू रिचेस स्टोरीज स्टिल वर्क, ह्यूमन स्टोरीज स्टिल वर्क, कि देखो आज ये चाय वाला था, कल क्या बन गया, राइट? सो आज तो दुबई में मिलियंस कमा रहा है. So
in fact, Sonam, you have answered the question which you asked me when you use the word trick. So it all boils down to, when the moment you use the terminology trick, whether you consider it as a negative factor or as a positive factor. I consider it as a negative factor. I am okay with tactics, but tricking somebody is bordering on the negative side.
मैं आपसे एक
and especially when the data provided by them and the pitch provided them for an intellectual mind does not hold good.
I'm going to ask you a question which has been bothering me over the last couple of days, of what has happened in the creator landscape, so to speak. And that is very related to, again, the space that you have gotten into, and now you're looking to sort of formalize it and actually create influencers out of people, or maybe tell them that you can also be an influencer, right? ये बड़ा ही fragile सा space है, and इसमें कई इंसानों को कई बार बहुत वक्त लग जाता है to traverse through a journey to get to a point where maybe they have a certain number of followers, they have a certain amount of content that they've churned out, they have, so many people looking at them, respecting their words, they have that kind of impact, let's put it like that, जैसे कि आपने impact कहा. और एक दिन वो कहीं जाकर कुछ कह देते हैं and it's gone. Fut, it's just gone, right? इसमें aren't you setting yourself up? क्योंकि ऐसा कितनी बार होगा कि आप 100 में से एक बार भी गलत नहीं जाओगे. Aren't you setting yourself up for failure and depression and a short life in the limelight, and then that can essentially be catastrophic for a person's mind?
See, you can't cite a random cases and turn it into a theory to start off with. These are random occurrings basically, and I would say there's a rich concoction of silliness, sadness, and stupidity, all three combined here. And also, I don't want to sit on the moral judgment here, but because you see, end of the day, as Osho said it, what is right and what is wrong? Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. If you fall back on the old age-old wisdom factor, what could be profane in a certain culture may not be necessarily be profane in another culture.
True.
So the borders, the boundaries,
or what could be profane in your culture today was not so profane a few days ago.
Bang on. So at the moment we are divided by distance and cultures and geographical locations, the definition of what is right for an average human being's consumption and his taste, it entirely differs. But I would say that you need to play out smart and somewhere. But the ridiculousness lies in that if you have gone wrong, you need to understand one factor, that the remote control lies with you when it comes to social media. I mean, you could have immediately rectified that issue if you have gone wrong. For example, in today's, we're having a conversation, we're having a chat, and for if in any of the instance, if we have ended up, putting out a wrong data or something, that can be controlled, that can be edited and put out,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, was somebody really, doing it intentionally to drive a certain infamy is a different issue, but somebody doing it unintentionally is a case of bad luck.
Our conversation, I think, can go on, Sumanth. And this is an area which definitely is of interest to me, bringing down years of where perhaps I was in a completely different field down to media. It's an exciting field nonetheless. And I wish you all the best with what you're looking to do with Voices. I have, although, seen a few of my colleagues rising all the way from the ashes, coming to a point where perhaps they've claimed what they say is the it game, and then come crashing down. So while I continue to remain apprehensive of the influencer and the creator space, I have to also admit that both Sumanth and I actually run organizations that are based on these. We are a country that actually allocates billions of dollars to this space, and perhaps growing because marketers, governments entirely are looking at this space very, very keenly. It's people like you who perhaps can influence and have the impact of either making or breaking a brand. This is something which you should be conscious of. Keep following us for more.